Three.
Okay, so hello,
Hello,
and
hello.
you? How are you since the last time we spoke?
I guess it has been 2 years, isn't it? Pretty amazing because right then there, I just started to awaken and I had like my first book out,
Oh
and a
wow.
lot has changed since then. Like I had my book launch in the Philippines, and I started to go deeper in my awakening, and I can say I know more about the Filipino culture and the values.
Oh, that's nice. So tell me about more of that awakening journey that you had. So, probably people can learn from it as well and be inspired.
Yes. So, let me just give a little bit of a background. I grew up as a half Filipino, half Belgian. Um, I was raised in Belgium, and I didn't have that big awareness of my Filipino identity. Even when I was 5 years old and 10 years old, I visited there, but I still didn't get it. You know, I stuck to the Belgian identity more because I was raised that way. Um, Even though my Filipino mom has also taught me about Filipino values, it's different because you don't get to connect with the vibes, you know. Um, and I guess I had this limited belief systems because I thought that my father said that I was too much, you know. I took that limited belief on me because he was behaving in a way that I wasn't allowed to be that too intense and too much. So it was actually my fault, it was my responsibility. But as a child, we don't know. We often think it's our parents, but if you really look closer, he didn't say to me that I was too much and too intense. He didn't tell me that. I just thought that because he behaved that way to me towards me, right? And if you look further on my journey, I took that limited belief with my classmates as well. And now I see what really happened because I went deeper in my healing. I guess I also pushed that pain away because I didn't want to face it unconsciously, with lying to myself. Yeah, I always
Right,
told the same story all over again, and I think we both know how hard it is to break through those patterns.
right. And I can only imagine how difficult it was for you as a child and growing up. Like, there must be part of you that you couldn't understand, you can find
Mm-hmm.
answers
No.
because of the things that you are going through. So tell me about if there's was there an experience or experiences that triggered for you to have that enlightenment journey?
Um, yeah, let's say I always have that knowing, always that sense of connection. I always missed a part of me. And I guess I went back in 2014. I was 22 years old. That was my first time to go back to the Philippines. And gosh, whew, my world got wide open. I was pretty shocked because I when I dropped down the airplane, I was like, I felt immediately at home. Normally, people would experience a culture shock. But for me, I was at ease right away. I was familiar. And when I got back to Belgium, guess what happened? I didn't know that I was doing it, suppressing it all again. And of course, I felt the difference. I felt that longing. I felt that missing. And my mom said her friends were always like sobrang lungkot, sad. And I now know what it is because I always wonder what it is about the Philippines. What is it? What is it that makes people feel like that? And now I knew because I was experiencing that myself. It took me 1 month to get used to Belgium again. And sadly, I suppressed my Filipino side again. And that it took me like 4 trips, I guess, to really have a huge breakthrough. I think I was at that time also conversing with somebody, and I at that time I felt she wasn't open to that side of me, but she was like kind of reflecting that to me when I was ignoring myself within myself. You know what I mean, right?
So it's like you had this switch that you needed to turn on and off,
Yeah,
right? It's really hard because it's like you're not really free
yeah,
to showcase or to really,
yes,
um give out the energy that you have. And it
yeah,
is good that you felt that um familiarity the
yeah,
moment you got in the Philippines. So
yeah,
yeah.
right.
And I suppose that's the first time you knew that you have this Filipino energy.
Yes, yes. And I started to understand the cultural differences because, no offense, Belgium is more individualistic, materialistic, and they don't have that mentality like we have. But I see it also as an advantage because I was like overgiving, like some Filipinos do, right? And sometimes we just have to remember to give to ourselves, and that's when the Belgian culture comes in to have that balance. And now I'm learning to balance that out.
Right. So you spoke about the difference in culture and practices and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. Do you wanna touch more about that? What are the things that you can do that while you're in the Philippines that you cannot
Mm-hmm.
do Zoom and vice
Well, I think Kapla, you know what that means, right? Connection.
versa? Right.
Um, yeah, like I said, I always believed that it was too much, too intense, because I wanted to connect to people instantly. You are looking for that connection, but sometimes people go like this. It's too soon, too much,
Yeah.
and now I know it has to do with balancing the energy.
Mhm.
Right? If I have too much energy when I'm too enthusiastic, I'm not gonna adjust myself. No, I'm just gonna pause a minute, make sure that I'm balanced and grounded, and then go from there.
Mhm. Right. And you mentioned about that kapwa. And it's
Mm-hmm.
funny because I've lived in different countries as well, and the common thing that um that's really interesting is that if there are other Filipinos in the community that I'm in,
Mm-hmm.
it really feels like home. It feels
Yeah,
like home.
yeah. Because every time I encounter another Filipina, no matter what no matter if I know him or her, we just click. We say hi,
Mhm.
and I instantly just get happy because I have met somebody who's in alignment, with
Mm.
that feeling, and then I want, and that just sometimes it just makes my whole day.
Right. The Filipino energy,
Yeah.
as they say. Yeah, right. So I know you've been like enjoying talking about the Philippines, but what do you love about the Philippines? Do you want to touch on that?
Yes. Oh, there's a lot. Um,
For sure.
of course, the beautiful places, the islands, the food, the local products. But Philippines is not the same. I think what sets the Philippines apart from other countries are the people. Yeah, they are like caring, nurturing, hospitable, you name it. They have like the whole package. You feel, I can't explain, you feel immediate at ease. Like kapwa means I see myself in you, right? And if you have that connection, you instantly feel it as well. You feel connected, you can relate. You're both Filipino, you both, yeah, you have some points you have in common. And for me, it has always been easy to connect with Filipinos. It's easy, it was easier.
Right. And actually, even other nationalities, whenever
Hmm.
they visit the Philippines, the common
Yeah,
thing that I would say is that Filipinos are happy people.
yeah,
We like, regardless of
yes,
the trials, the
yeah,
because we don't have the perfect weather, but you would
no.
still see people
Hmm.
smiling,
Yeah,
willing to help
yeah, yeah,
others, those kind of stuff. So that's really like, and the good thing about it is that we can bring it wherever we are,
yeah,
because that's it in our culture, you know. So that's something that we should be proud of.
yes. And I'm glad that I went on that internal journey because now of course, I'm always gonna miss the Philippines, but I started to accept that part in myself. I'm not yet there because I know there's still pain that needs to be touched, looked at. But I can say now, the transfer between uh, Philippines and Belgium, late March, when I was there, when I got back, was much easier. I think it took me 2 weeks now because I'm more aware, and it's much easier to release that energy because it's all about energy, and it's all about that connection within. They say like you can find all the answers when you connect within to your higher self. I feel that's true.
Right, right. And it's a good thing because
Hmm.
aside from being introduced to your Filipino heritage, somehow it helped you
Yeah.
to like fill in the void
Hmm.
that you've been feeling, and
Yes.
somehow you can really find a balance between
Yes.
your Belgian heritage and your
Yep.
Filipino. So
That's
that's a
totally correct. Yes.
right, right. So now let's talk about the animated Filipino
Mhm.
stories. What went through what went you through watching the animated Filipino story? And tell us more about that.
Well, a lot of different things, all positive, of course. I watched the story itself. I also watched the reactions, and I could totally relate. I mean, the Philippines has its poor side and its rich side, and you can always feel like the pain and the joy. And I can relate that within myself as well because I have been pretty resilient, and that comes from the Filipino identity. Because I have been working through the pain, but I can still smile. It's not like a facade, you know. Um, I'm used to dealing with it. I can carry it, uh, and it feels totally okay now. Because I also accepted it, and what I also noticed is like the part with the kapwa, like we mentioned before. It was also, yeah, it was like a second awakening. It really gave me more awareness, And the deeper I dive, the more sense it makes. Like the puzzle becomes whole. Um, and the more I become aware, the more pain within myself will be able to heal. And when people trigger me, at least I know what I have to look at, and it's my belief system.
Right, that's right. Because you wouldn't really know how to handle things if you don't know
No,
yourself,
right,
right?
right.
So, I just want to ask you, like,
Mm-hmm.
what is your message for um other biracial, like
Yeah.
you, with half Filipino, with them that are really struggling to finding their identity and understanding the
Um,
challenges,
I think it's like don't force anything. Um, and really find your connection within yourself through your intuition, because eventually you will like me in time you would awaken and you find the answers at the right time, I would say. um and whenever you're stuck or anything, I would just go to your parents and just ask, or look at interviews like we are doing, to gain more awareness about the culture and the values and what makes you.
right? That's
Mm-hmm.
a pretty an interesting response there, and
Mm-hmm.
you're right because we've talked about this last time as well in our conversation about people really like biracial
Yeah.
Filipinos having a hard time really dealing with their identity. So
Yes.
I think we've already touched on
Mm-hmm.
this good conversation here, but is there anything else that you want to add?
Uh, I think what I like about Filipinos is like bayanihan as well. We have that sense to bring people together, no matter where they're from. Um, we have an event like that in Belgium every May. Every year there is this bayanihan, and I know why it's called bayanihan now. uh, it always lights me up whenever I get connection with Filipinos, because and we don't have to announce that we're going, because I even met an old classmate I haven't seen like last year. We are not talking. We just ran into each other again this year, and other friends of my mother. We just don't announce it. They're just coming. We just we want to be like surprised. Who's gonna be there? We don't have to know. That's the nicest thing you can have. Surprise, surprise, here I am.
Yeah, and then have that connection once again as
Yeah,
if you didn't have that gap,
yeah,
right?
yeah, right.
Okay, so I think we've already
Yeah,
answered the questions and we can
yes,
wrap it up.
yes, right. I'll just stop the recording now.